Hey everybody, Mr. Gamer Guru 13 here for my second video. I am still in work in progress on the xenogears PS1 review, but for now I thought I'd take a break from that and do a collection video. I'm going to do a video on everything Final Fantasy that I own, from games to movies to whatever. So sit back and enjoy this. This is my Final Fantasy collection video. Everything Final Fantasy. We're going to start with systems. We're going to go by systems. And first up is the SNES. We have Final Fantasy 3. It's actually Final Fantasy 6. Great game. The PlayStation version is definitely better and more refined, but still a wonderful game. That's actually the only game I have for the SNES. I did have Final Fantasy 2, which is actually Final Fantasy 4, but I let a friend borrow that, and I never got it back. He lost it, or that's at least what he said. So a little bit frustrated about that, but what can you do? Next up, we have Game Boy Advance. The only game I got is Final Fantasy Tactics. This is an awesome game. The story is great. It's part of the Evilus Alliance, or Evilus Alliance, which was, if you remember, Final Fantasy 12 was set in the world of Evilus. Also, Vagrant Story, and Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced, and I think Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift. They're all part of the Evilus Alliance, so you might run into characters that you know from certain games. Very interesting, very fun, tactical RPG. One of the best tactical RPG series is out there. Next up, we have Final Fantasy Tactics. Unfortunately, Greatest Hits version. I am sending this back because I want the Black Label version. I ordered the Black Label version, but the guy sent me Greatest Hits. Probably the best tactical role-playing game on the PS1, maybe best of all time. This brings back the job system from Final Fantasy V, and I think Final Fantasy 1 and 2. But just an awesome game. Definitely pick it up if you have the chance to for the PS1. But if you can't find it for the PS1, it did come out for the PlayStation Portable under the name Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions. So check it out. Awesome tactical role-playing game. Probably the best ever that I've played. Next up, and we're switching over to PlayStation 1 now. That was PlayStation 1, and this is PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy Origins. This is Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2. These are very simple games. It's pretty much go to your town, get your assignment or your quest, go to your dungeon, beat your boss, and then repeat. But they're still fun to play through. It's good to go back and play these games and see how the Final Fantasy series evolved. You don't have huge, grand cutscenes like you do in 7, 8, 9, and the rest on up, but it's still very fun. Next up, we have Final Fantasy Chronicles, which is Final Fantasy 4 and Chrono Trigger. For this movie, we're taking out Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is an awesome game, but we're taking it out for now. Probably one of the best role-playing games I've played as well. But Final Fantasy 4, this is a good version of the game, although it also came out on the Game Boy Advanced and on the Nintendo DS. My suggestion is that you pick it up on the Nintendo DS. It'll probably be easier to find. I don't know if it will be less expensive or not, but it's also a much better game. It's in full 3D. I think it's fully voiced. If not, the cutscenes are definitely voiced, and there are cutscenes. And the story is tweaked a little bit or just made more precise and better. So Final Fantasy IV, this is Final Fantasy Chronicles. Definitely pick up Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy Anthologies. This is another Greatest Hits version. Unfortunately, this is Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI is definitely superior, but Final Fantasy V was interesting with the job system it has. Final Fantasy VI, though, was more refined, I felt. The pride and joy of my collection, Final Fantasy VII. That's probably why I have 2 copies. One of these copies is for sale. Let me know if you want to buy it. Final Fantasy VII, the first role-playing game I ever played ever. My friend let me borrow it, and I sunk hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game. Not much you can say about this game that hasn't already been said. It's just one of the best games ever made. Probably my favorite in the Final Fantasy series. Next up, we have Final Fantasy VIII. Not the best game, but still a very good game. The only drawback to this, in my opinion, was the draw system. It was very off-putting to be able to lose your magic after you use it. So Great story, just the draw system was very off-putting for me in Final Fantasy VIII. Next game we have Final Fantasy IX. Again, another stupid greatest hits version, but that's okay. I mean, I ordered this as the Black Label version, and again they sent me the greatest hits version. This is my only sealed game that I have. But Final Fantasy IX, what can I say about it? Let's see. It's probably probably my second favorite game in the Final Fantasy series, and everything you liked from Final Fantasy 1 through Final Fantasy 8 is in this game, and it's got a great medieval setting, wonderful music, wonderful characters, wonderful story. Pick it up, buy it, play it, must have. Next we'll go to the PSP. We got Final Fantasy 1. I already talked about that one. Same game, just that version for the PSP doesn't have the cutscenes that the PlayStation version does. Final Fantasy, or let's say Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7. This happens before Final Fantasy 7, and you play as Zack. If you remember in Final Fantasy 7, Zack died at the very beginning of the game. You didn't know who he was. Well, it turns out, I won't spoil anything actually, but very interesting game. Although the leveling system is so chaotic in this game, it's random. The more battles you fight, the better opportunity you have to level up, and it's on like a little spinning wheel thing. If you get 3 7s in a row, you'll gain a level. I thought it was a really kind of hokey and wasn't that refined because it was random. You just leveled up at random, so there was no experience or anything. Now let's move on to the PlayStation 2. We have Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2, Final Fantasy 12, and Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus. Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus. Now let's go to the GameCube. Only game I have, probably I think it's the only Final Fantasy game on the GameCube, which is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. It's a side story to the Final Fantasy series. You could play 4 players if you hooked in your Game Boy Advanced to this. Just wasn't the best game out there. Action RPG, and not that fun for me. Next up, let's go PS3. Only Final Fantasy game so far is Final Fantasy 13. Very, very linear game, although the battle system can get very deep if you want it to get deep. Your characters don't gain levels in this. You level up certain systems within that character. So you have 6 total, and soon they'll be able to use all 6. But they start out as a certain, like a sentinel or a medic or whatnot. Very, very good game. I'm going to be doing a review on that. And also to go along with Final Fantasy 13, I have the small walkthrough that came with the pre-order, and then I bought the big walkthrough. Unfortunately, I didn't get the hard copy, but this definitely did the job. I kind of wish I would have gotten the hard copy. This is the soft cover. Next, we're going to go to VHS tapes. These are 2 videos called The Legend of the Crystals Final Fantasy. These are set 200 years after the events of Final Fantasy V. If you enjoyed Final Fantasy V, and if you enjoy anime movies, and if you enjoy Final Fantasy movies, definitely worthy of a pickup. These are awesome. I loved them. Pretty much, save the wind crystal, save the fire crystal, all that stuff from Final Fantasy V. Next up, we got Final Fantasy The Spirits Within. When I was watching this is a CG animated movie, or a CG animated DVD. When I was watching this at certain times, I thought, I didn't know if I was really seeing real people or CG animation. That's how good this movie is. It's got a great story, a great theme to it, and it's just an overall great movie. And again, another great movie, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. This is tying up a lot of loose ends in the Final Fantasy VII universe. Starring Cloud, you got all your Final Fantasy VII characters. They make an appearance. Cid, Barret, Tifa, everybody makes an appearance in this game. And also some new characters show their faces. And last but not least, we have Final Fantasy Unlimited. Now this is a 5 DVD set, 5 disc set that was a TV series in Japan, a Final Fantasy TV series in Japan. And each disc comes with its own cool artwork if you buy the box set. You got Cactar here on the back of the 5th disc. And there's 25 episodes here. Final Fantasy Unlimited complete collection. ADV Films does a great job in bringing all these Japanese TV shows, TV series to America and dubbing them in English. Anyways, guys, this is my Final Fantasy collection. This is the final piece I have, and I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for that Xenogears review for the PS1. That'll be coming out shortly. Alright, thanks.